One of the themes that we talk about at Genoa is how to find conviction in the inherent complexity at the bioconvergence. Hi, I'm Jenny Rooke. I'm the founder and managing director of Genoa Ventures. Now, to some degree, complexity is subjective. Chopsticks can seem complex to a kid learning piano, whereas Rachmaninoff might be repertoire to a maestro. That said, there is an inherent and an objective complexity to being at that bioconvergent interface. It has to do with things like many intersecting parts, which could be interdependent, that take time to navigate, and that, frankly, have the risk of going off the rails at any point. In those contexts, it's like a symphony. You need a conductor who really understands all of the intersecting parts deeply and is able to bring the whole orchestra forward in a coherent way. That's what we look for in our teams that are building incredibly novel businesses in this convergent space, and that's what we hope to be as partners as well.
I'm Mark Bathgate. I'm a limited partner in Genoa Ventures based in Park City, Utah. I think the Genoa difference is the amount of time that Genoa gets to take to get to know the companies. A lot of times in venture, particularly early stage, a VC meets a founder and they have to put a term sheet in very quickly, sometimes 24 hours, maybe 2 weeks. And that really doesn't give you a lot of time to get to know a person, the business, etc. Genoa gets months.
I'm Gudrun Stengel, co-founder and CEO of Alida Biosciences. Alida Biosciences is an RNA epigenetics company. We develop methods for detecting and quantitating RNA modifications. RNA modifications are regulators of RNA function. They're very important for cell development and gene expression regulation and have applications in diagnostics and therapeutic development. Oh, it couldn't be more complex. In fact, most VC firms would probably shy away from investing in such a complex field of research and also a very nascent field of research. And I think what's special about it in Genoa is that they are technically really knowledgeable. It's very important for a startup company like ours to find the right type of investors. And Genoa has this curiosity into the science and building companies together that break really into new areas of science, and that's what we're doing.
Hi, my name is Jacques Corvo. I'm the CEO of Codetta Bio. At Codetta Bio, we've developed the first fully integrated multi-omics technology where we can quantify DNA, RNA, and protein simultaneously from a sample. Prior to our technology, these workflows were incredibly disjointed and required multiple different pieces of technology to achieve. And we've been able to simplify this down into a single workflow, a single instrument that's walk-away automated. What we do is very hard. And so having an understanding of that is most important. Being able to support us as we go through the different challenges, and it helps us to make sense of some of these challenges and be able to overcome those. I think that advice is key. I speak to a lot of investors, and every venture capital firm out there talks about being an active partner when they make investments, but very few actually do. And so Genoa is one of the few that does lend resources and is willing to sit down and talk about issues. They'll talk about different things that are happening in the market that we may want to be aware of, make connections, and that's incredibly helpful. And another advantage to Genoa is that everybody here understands the science, and so it's not very difficult to explain what we do and get them to understand. And again, I think that's why it's so natural for them to bring the key opinion leaders and the expertise and market intelligence and such, because they really do understand.
Hi, I am Ricardo Garcia de Alba, the CEO of Meiogenix.
Hello, I'm Gaganpreet Sidhu, and I'm Chief Technology Officer at Meiogenix.
In Meiogenix, we advance crop improvement with a proprietary breeding technology that is based on targeted recombination.
We have a complex technology, but we're also solving a complex problem. And I don't see complexity as a drawback. I see it as an edge, and that's how we see it as a team as well. And what we do is we do targeted recombination to enable crop improvement much faster. And in times like now, which are very challenging due to population growth, due to changes in our climate, we need crops to be resilient and to respond to these changes. And this is why we need a technology like Meiogenix technology that can really bring tremendous value in its time.
Meiogenix, we're really excited to be able to help breeders to unlock areas of the genome that would otherwise be unavailable or inaccessible for them. And our relationship with Genoa has been wonderful in that sense. Genoa has helped us to understand better the strategic perspective that we need to add to the work that we do. They've been wonderful mentors. We have the benefit of having Jenny in our board, and has been invaluable to be able to get that perspective, that vision, that strategic mindset.
Hi, my name is Vikram Chaudhery. I'm a partner at Genoa Ventures. So when we first make an investment, that investment is important to us for a number of different reasons. One, it's capital that we're putting to work, and we're, in order to be good stewards of the capital, we really have to make sure that that capital is maximizing its value. But equally important, we're partnering with scientific founders on their innovation, their life's work, and helping that achieve its commercial potential is incredibly important, because that's really why they're partnering with us. And we know that it's going to be a journey that's going to take 3, 5, 7 years even, in some cases, maybe longer. And really, it's about navigating challenges and complexities on that point in time. And that's really when you really start to get into the foxhole with your scientific founders and really know that we're both on the same side of the table facing all the challenges that are going to come our way, and we're going to solve all of those problems together.
My name is Joe Peterson. I'm co-founder and chief technology officer of SimBioSys. SimBioSys was the first company applying AI in the breast cancer space, and the first company to integrate all the different types of diagnostic information that's collected for a patient. Everything from the genomes that talk about how the cancer cells behave, to the pathology that describes how those cells interact with one another, all the way to the anatomical scale that describes how the cancer is growing in the patient's body. We collected all that information together to create digital twins of these patients that can be used for different types of clinical problems. Everything from what is the optimal surgery for a patient, what drugs should be given to that patient, and ultimately what the likelihood of the disease coming back is. When we met Vikram and the team, we were honestly too early in our development for them, and they told us that. And they're brutally honest, unlike some other VCs that just say, this isn't what we're looking for. What was really nice was they were there along the way with us, and they told us what we needed to do to become a commercially viable company, to build technology that could go through the FDA and ultimately impact patient lives. And so the partnership that developed over many years was one that was symbiotic, and really understanding both the scientific application as well as the clinical side, and where that needs to go from a diagnostic purpose. They're invested in us and our science far beyond just their investment.
Hi, I'm Dr. Diana Abdueva, founder and CEO of Aqtual. Our science is indeed complex when it comes to explaining. However, in the core of Aqtual is very simple and beautiful understanding of DNA regulation that is allowing us to push all the boundaries of traditional liquid biopsy that we've seen in the field today. So the science behind Aqtual may be complex, both to understand and explain. But what was very important for us early in the journey is to find the right people that spend their time with the company and understood what we're building. And one of those people was Jenny Rooke, founder of Genoa, who was our lead seed investor. Talking to Aqtual in early days was difficult. We were all about complicated science, so absorbing the science took quite a bit of art. What was great about partnering with Genoa Ventures in early days was not only they understood our complex scientific stories, they helped us to retell them to a broader investor audience. And we were surrounded by people that not only deeply understood the science that we were bringing to clinical utility, but also helped us to explain the science to others.
It's an impressive group of people that they've gathered into the portfolio. And I really think that, you can only do that well when you understand the science and the technology.
The team at Genoa Ventures is no stranger to the complexity that is inherent in bioconvergence. In fact, we have a penchant for it. Our typical profile is a deep scientific or engineering background. Each member of the Genoa Ventures investing team brings their own specific and deep passion for a particular area of science or engineering. My PhD is in genetics, my first love. One of my partners, his PhD is in electrical engineering, again, showing that interdependence of technology and biology. So we typically understand the complexity of the science itself and are excited by that. We've also all been operators, and so we know what it is to build a business around the complexity, not just of the science and the technology, but also of the path to market, which involves challenging things like how to manufacture science and technology, how to find the right customers and engage them, and sometimes navigating challenging infrastructure like regulatory reimbursement. So we've been there, we know that it's tough, and we know that it's worth it.